So I also want to talk today a little bit about loneliness and what I think of it. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've noticed a lot about how people deal with loneliness, especially my close friends and stuff like that. I personally don't think loneliness is a bad thing. it's it's kind of like everything else in life. You should have a balance of it. Obviously, we as humans should require human interactions. We require social interactions and what is it? Other people. Basically, we do need that. But I also do think being alone is not a terrible thing at all. I think we do need that too, just like we need social interaction. And the reason why I say that is because I believe being alone forces you to be with your thoughts and reflect upon yourself. And I also believe that is the key to personal growth. Now, you know, it's not fun. It's not fun thinking about yourself. It's not fun because we always tend to be more judgmental toward ourselves. We like to pick our own flaws. We like to think about the things we've done, the bad things we've done. We like to think about what mistakes we've done. And I get it. It's difficult to come in terms with that. It's difficult to kind of bounce back from that because you're almost always looking at yourself at the lowest state. And I think it's important to not look at it as failures, but look at it as lessons to learn about yourself. Because if you learn about yourself, if you truly understand yourself, I believe you can become a better person through that. Because now you know what your flaws are. Now you know what things you need to improve on, what traits or characters you should develop so that you can become a better version of yourself or someone that you envision. So, I do this sometimes, especially when I'm alone. I think about um, my flaws or things that I've done wrong in the past, and I kind of take it a step at a time and try to identify my own problems and try to also formulate something, a plan or a just general reminder that, hey, you've done this, or you may have this kind of issue almost. So keep in mind of your own flaws, and I think that's a pretty important skill because then you will always kind of remember that these flaws might resurface again. And I say this because I think sometimes we hide our true selves very good. I think we hide ourselves very, very well, and the outside world doesn't know almost like who we truly are or what we truly want and stuff like that. I think we're very good at that, very good at hiding that. But there will always be a time when your true character shows, and usually it's during the hard times, it's during the stressful times, it's during times where you're very vulnerable emotionally or mentally. So it's at those times when your true character shows, and that's also when you should take a note, like a mental note of yourself. Like this is kind of what I'm like. This is what I do. This is what I am during these times, and this is only achievable when you self-reflect, when you think about yourself. And the only time we do this, unfortunately, is also when we're alone, when we're being honest with ourselves. Because you can lie to everybody else, you can hide yourself to everybody else, but you can never hide yourself from you. You can never run away from your true self. Whatever it is I'm doing now, even if I'm doing it for the wrong reason, sooner or later I will realize it, and sooner or later I will have to come to terms with myself again. So I don't think loneliness is a bad thing at all. Now, of course, if you have a lot of it, of course that might damage a person. But I think having some alone time, having to come to face your thoughts and your reflection is very important in personal growth. In fact, I think that's exactly. I think I said this before, but to reiterate, wait, what's the right word? To reiterate. Yeah, reiterate. I don't know. My point is that it's the most important part of your life, because that's when you do true personal growth. And the whole thing that brought this to my thought was because I noticed my friends, they have trouble with that. They can't seem to deal with it sometimes. It's hard. I understand. It's daunting. It's terrifying, actually, at times. When I feel alone, when I feel lonely, it's almost like it feels like you're a loser for not having friends or something around you. It makes you feel like you're boring, but I don't think that's the right way to look at it. But that is, I can understand, I can see from their side of the view why it might be that way. But like, to give you an example, like my roommate, he's got some problem, some addiction to deal with, basically, and a trigger of that is always late at night when he's alone. It triggers him when he's alone at night, like 10 o'clock. It triggers him. He thinks about getting something. He thinks about doing the habit again because of that. And I totally understand it. I totally understand it. He does not like to be alone. He always goes out and do things, even with the people he doesn't like. And that's just, to me, I feel like you could use that time and truly be alone with yourself and think about yourself. Think about what you want to do. Not what you want to, my bad. Let me rephrase that. To think about, are you currently the version that you want yourself to be? Am I doing things in my life that's progressing me into becoming the person I want? You have to be honest with yourself here. You got to be brutally honest, and you have to be extremely accepting of criticism that you give yourself. Because struggles are where true growth comes from. If you don't have a challenge in life, if you don't experience the hardships in life, you never truly grow that much. If you always stay in your comfort zone, if you always run away from these problems, these pain or fear, you can never truly grow as a person. And it's when you stop and you look at the problem in the face and you tackle it instead of running away from it. Even if you lose, trust me, you will always get the best value out of it if you fight it. Now, obviously, there are times where you could also use help. There's also times where you could, use other resources, or even to quit fighting it, of course. But I think it's always important to tackle the challenge first, to learn from it, even if you fail. Because if you fail, that's actually the best lesson you can get. You learn best from challenges and failures. That's just that's the foundation of everything. Nothing that's easy in life will give you fulfillment. And being alone is one of them. Being alone, being happy alone is one of them. It's an extremely hard thing to achieve, and I think that it's important to still face the loneliness at times. I don't feel alone all the time. I have great relationships, and I'm still working on them and things like that. And it's very rewarding to have these relationships, of course, but I still have to also focus on my relationship with myself, and I still prioritize that right now, because I don't think I am the ideal version of what I want to be right now, at least, but I am working toward it, and I don't think I'll ever reach the ideal version of myself. But like I said, it's a battle that I am willing to fight continuously in my life, because I want to improve as a person throughout my life, not just being stagnant at one point and be happy with it. No, I want to continue throughout all stages of life, because I think everything in life, the things we learn, it will never stop. I think they will always continue to grow as individuals, no matter how old or how young you are. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on loneliness. Basically, it's not bad. It's just like everything else. It should be in balance. You should have a little bit of it, but you should not have it dictate your life. Just like everything else, like I said.